The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Metro Manila mayors are up in arms against the IATF's decision to reopen leisure activities and establishments such as cinemas and theme parks in GCQ areas. But how are the LGUs outside of the metro feeling about this? Let's get the opinion of Tacloban Mayor Alfred Romualdez. He is joining us on the line. Good morning, Mayor. Will Tacloban reopen leisure activities as recommended by the IATF?
Yes, but magiging that will be a case-to-case basis, no? For example, like cinemas, we have been closely in touch with the malls, and unang sinasabi nila is that what's the point of opening cinemas? Wala namang ginawang pelikula in this last year. All over the world, there's really no movies to show. That's number one, no? But I think, we have to tap the DOST, Department of Science and Technology, because there is already technology out there available to protect, the public, like in cinemas, when you circulate the air there, pwede nila malinisan yung hangin na yan, walang virus. And we should now open also our thoughts that allowing now the private sector to raise their fees because they're providing now extra systems there that will protect the public. So I think, what we will be seeing in the future, leisure activities will be more expensive than usual, no? Because technology will come into play here, when it comes to cleaning the air. And the technology is out there. Siyempre, bago yung mga technology na yan, medyo mahal. So I think the public should be aware that opening these leisure parks, opening these cinemas will eventually happen, no? But we have to regulate it. The government has to regulate it, provide also technology, and the private sector now has to install. They have to install these systems so they can protect the public. So ang makikita natin talaga sa mga susunod na mga buwan at taon, mas mahal na ang mga leisure activities.
All right. What I'm hearing from you, Mayor, is that you're actually open to the idea of further opening up the areas that we mentioned subject to these technological advancements, right? But then we have other NCR mayors saying that although they have their own opinions, they weren't even consulted on the matter. Do you share the same sentiment?
Ang regulatory powers naman nasa local government. Kaya pag sinabing pwedeng buksan yan, the local government can always regulate it. We have our sanggunian and we have also the power to issue licenses to open. So I don't think that should be a problem. The mayors know that yung pagdating sa regulatory powers nasa local government din yung powers na yan, and we can exercise those powers. So I think basically what IATF is just giving the guidelines that if the LGU decides to open up, then it will be allowed to open up, and the LGU must just regulate and control, but more really regulate the for example number of people and how they should operate their leisure parks or cinemas for that matter.
Right. Earlier, you mentioned, Mayor, that it is case-to-case basis depending on the situation. But then how is the COVID-19 situation in Tacloban right now?
Well, here it's difficult, no, because we're the capital of the region, and this is a highly urbanized city. So we have we quadruple our population during the day. So it's really more difficult. But having close and monitoring now with the private sector, lumalabas nga talaga dito ay sila gumagawa ng mga iba-ibang measures na nila also to protect their business so that they don't close. Because of course, if there's a spread in their particular establishment, then, we'll have to shut them down. So they wouldn't want also that there magkaroon ng spread dyan at pati mga empleyado nila, pinoprotektahan nila. So even, if you have this news now about the vaccines coming in, still, hindi natin masabi, baka sa mga susunod na buwan, may bagong virus na naman. So, panibagong vaccine na naman. So, kailangan talaga, technology talagang kailangan. Alam mo, nung tumaas ang crime, we required establishments to put CCTVs. And now, if we see now that there is a rise of pandemics and all that, then we have to come up with the technology to protect our people.
All right, let's talk about the preparations for the release of vaccines, actually. How prepared is Tacloban to receive and roll out COVID-19 vaccines? Have you done simulation exercises like the other LGUs?
Yes, nagawa na namin yan. In fact, Tacloban, we will really have our hands full, no? Because this is the city in the region with 6 provinces. This is the city. We have 7 hospitals. So since, these vaccines will be administered in the hospitals, then we'll have our hands full, basically 7 hospitals will be dealing with the entire region. So kailangan talaga pinaghandaan yan, sinimulate na yan, tinignan namin paano magagawa. Kaya naman, no? But we just have to be careful because, this is something that's very new. And when you do something like that, we have to open the modified systems that needed to be, modified or, changed for that matter.
Right. That being said, everything's in place. Lahat ng paghahanda from the local government's end ay nagawa na. But then, I understand that we have the vast majority of Filipinos still hesitant to get COVID-19 shots. How would you assess vaccine confidence among Tacloban residents?
I would say, that hindi naman sila, I think, they're a little skeptical because of the lack of information. Because there's so much information coming out there, good and bad. And I think we have to step up, in informing the public that, number one, where did the vaccines come from? Who's guaranteeing, their effectivity? And basically, we have to have doctors coming out there and talking directly to their patients and, recommending that this vaccine be given to them. And I think, if it's an information campaign, mako-correct naman yan. But yes, I will admit that, medyo skeptical talaga sa probinsya. Alam mo naman, kulang sa information dito. So, medyo natatakot. But when they see that the frontliners, like the medical officers, the doctors and nurses, once it's given to them, kasi nakikita natin yung trend. Yung trend talaga dito ay madalas kumalat sa health workers. So if we see now that we can prevent now the spread through the health workers, then, I think that's a very effective way of communicating to the public that they will see for themselves what's happening.
Right, Mayor, one last question before I let you go. Talking about boosting vaccine confidence, would you be willing to get yourself inoculated in public to boost confidence?
Yeah, I'm willing to do that, no? Pero syempre, as a mayor naman, tinitignan rin natin. Unahin muna natin yung mga frontliners, unahin natin yung mga kailangan yan. Depende yan sa dami ng vaccine. Pero in fact, if confidence is, I always rely on my doctors and my, personal doctors definitely, tell me to. In fact, some of them have, are waiting that in the next few days they're gonna have themselves vaccinated. So, hindi naman problema yon.
All right, thank you for your time, Mayor Romualdez. That was Tacloban Mayor Alfred Romualdez on the line. Metro Manila mayors plan to appeal the IATF's decision to reopen cinemas and other leisure places in GCQ areas. This despite their earlier announcement that they would defer the implementation of the easing of restrictions. JC Cosico with the report.
Navota City Mayor Toby Tiangco cries foul against IATF's decision to ease quarantine restrictions in GCQ areas, including Metro Manila. He said NCR mayors were surprised with the relaxed guidelines.
Hindi po kami nakonsulta, nagulat lang kami kahapon nung we were informed about.
Recall that on Friday, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said more faithfuls will be allowed to attend religious gatherings as the allowable capacity in places of worship has been increased to 50%. Tiangco said he sees no problem about this.
Yung 50% sa churches, no question, payag ako doon. Ang reason doon is because pinapayagan na rin naman natin ng 50% capacity yung mga restaurants, di ba? So para maging consistent lang tayo, payag ako doon sa 50% doon sa churches.
However, the government is also allowing the reopening of cinemas, game arcades, and other leisure activities in GCQ areas starting Monday. Tiangco said this move must be reviewed in consultation with health experts. Pateros Mayor Miguel Ponce III echoed Tiangco's statement, saying the reopening of economy should be gradual, especially with the threat of the UK variant.
Hindi naman po pwedeng lahat parang balik na sa normal. Dahil sayang naman yung effort natin, lalo sa amin, napakababa ng cases ngayon na gusto namin ma-maintain sa gano'n. Dahil pag medyo binitawan na natin yan, palagay ko, magkakaproblema tayo uli
In an interview with One News, Marikina Mayor Marcy Teodoro expressed his reservations with the eased restrictions, as his city is currently seeing an increase in cases. He fears that the relaxed measures might worsen the situation, not only in Marikina but all over the metro.
It will proportionally increase, I think, the number of cases in Marikina as well as in the metropolitan Manila area.
Teodoro believes an efficient vaccination program must come first before the easing of restrictions.
The IATF should focus more on the efforts in implementing the soonest time possible our vaccination program before easing restrictions that might cause a surge in the number of COVID cases. We need to achieve what we call the herd or population immunity before normalcy in our activities can be restored.
The Metro Manila Council earlier said they will appeal the IATF's decision allowing cinemas and other leisure activities in GCQ areas. MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos told 1PH totoo lang at while the economy sorely needs the reopening of establishments, it must be done slowly but surely.
Itong sinihan, medyo question mark po ito. Ngayon, ang posisyon po namin, from 18, gagawing 15 to 65. Ito po yung consensus ng mga Metro Manila mayors. And then after probably a certain time, tignan natin kung let's say, hindi namang kumalat, wala namang and then pwedeng babaan ulit ito. Di ba? Gagano lang po naman kasi talagang kinakailangan na ng ekonomiya. It's just that, kamukha po na sinabi ko kanina, dahan-dahan lang, slowly but surely.
For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
The Octa Research Group also warns that relaxing leisure restrictions can increase COVID-19 transmission. In a statement, Octa's Ranjit Rai said premature relaxing of restrictions in GCQ areas can lead to a spike in cases. He noted that while it's important to balance health and economy, this must be done using best available scientific data and in line with established best practices in epidemic management. In an interview with Radyo 5, IATF co-chairman and Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said the easing of leisure activities has always been science-based ever since it was first implemented in MGCQ areas. Nograles also underscored the importance of this move to revive the economy. He also notes that the final guidelines will be still up for local government units depending on their COVID-19 situations in their areas.
Ngayong 2021, kailangan na po natin talagang mas lubos na balansehin ang pangangailangan ng ating ekonomiya, at lalong-lalo na yung trabaho ng ating mga kababayan. Ito po naman ay subject to implementing guidelines na gagawin ng Department of Health at ng iba't ibang mga ahensya na in charge dito. At meron pa rin pong yung LGU ng mga local government units ay meron naman po silang role dito. Kahit sa pag-finalize natin ng implementing guidelines.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.